Hi, I'm Cassie Robertson, and I am a brand ambassador with Kenra Professional. Today I'm going to be talking about why we would choose Kenra Color, our underlying pigments, and how they come into play with Kenra Color, and blonding with Kenra Color. So let's get in straight away with why we would choose Kenra Color. Number one is performance, and that's the biggest reason you would choose any color line. And as far as Kenra Color goes, we are tops in longevity, shine, versatility, and value. And reason number two is our ease of use and our superior education. Kenra Color is formulated in 5 easy steps, and our education is available through social media outlets, through in-salon classes, in-store classes, and we're also available on Facebook and Instagram. So we're kind of reachable in every sense of the word, and we're extremely easy to get a hold of. You guys can text me directly, and I'm able to respond to you. We're just really a connected group of users of Kenra Color. Reason number three is our artistic influence, which is something that you guys will use after you've been at a class. So it's our creative techniques. Just one of them as an example is our Hotel California. It's our creative techniques that we give you in our classes, and then you take them and can use them the very same day in salon. Everything with Kenra is extremely versatile and extremely easy to use, super straightforward. Number four is our value. Kenra Color is unparalleled in terms of cost and quality. And also I'm going to go a little farther and go in quantity because our tubes sometimes are a little bit bigger than other tubes, and I feel like you get a little bit more out of Kenra Color. You don't have to mix as much to get more use out of it. And number five is our versatility. Kenra Color ranges from standard gray coverage to our most creative techniques. And this is available through dim-eye and permanent color use and our creative designs. So Kenra Color is just a lot of fun, and it gives you a lot of range of motion as far as what you can use and what you're using on every person. And then finally our Balancing Complex 5, which is formulated into nearly everything Kenra uses, and that is vibrant, long-lasting color, intense shine, improved condition and manageability, gentle formulation, and outstanding coverage and saturation. So that kind of comes into play with everything we do as far as color, as far as our products, as far as anything goes. So let's go ahead and get into our underlying pigment. Now we know underlying pigment is what shows up when you're lifting 2 or more levels. And just as a fun little tidbit here, in our Kenra Color manual or our Kenra Color portfolio, there is an underlying pigment chart in either. And I've just got my my swatch book, so I'm trying to find where you can find that. Here it is. So something stuck in there. Whoops. In our swatch book, I think it's page 4 here, there's an underlying pigment chart. This thing is your best friend, especially when you're using any of our high lifts or you're going from a 5 to a 7 or a 5 to an 8. Anytime you're lifting 2 or more levels, this little baby is your best friend, because you can tell that when you're lifting anywhere from a 1 up, the underlying pigment changes. However, in our underlying pigment chart, what you would use generally just says ash all the way up. Fun little fact here, our ash line, we have what I'm going to call a floating underlying pigment. And we will go over that if we have to go through the Kenra Color portfolio again. But in our ash line, that floating underlying pigment, or rather toner for the underlying pigment, is what helps to make your life a whole lot easier, which is where Kenra Color comes in as far as ease of use. These floating toners are what help cancel out those crazy underlying pigments. So say you're lifting from a 7 to a 9 or 7 to a 10, you're going to go through that Big Bird yellow stage. In Kenra, because our ash line floats what toner is needed based on their line, it, depending on your choice, obviously, it is automatically going to cancel out or help to neutralize what that underlying pigment is. So just a fun little fact here. Our 1 through 5 in underlying pigment is a green. Our 6 through 8 is a blue. And our 9 and 10, the underlying toner in these, is a violet. So what that means is when you're lifting, especially if you're lifting someone that doesn't want to see any red in their hair, and we all have that client that no matter what we do, that person sees red in their hair, when you're lifting and you throw a little bit of this ash in, you're automatically neutralizing some of that underlying pigment. So, again, just as my example, if you're lifting from a 5 and 5N, which again for us is natural, not neutral, if you're lifting from a 5N to say an 8, and they've already picked out that they love this 8A swatch, if you formulate with the 8A, it is going to cancel out that little bit of orange and that lot of bit of yellow that you're going to go through, and it will really help to neutralize that tone that they're, not looking for as far as reds go. But just as a little reminder, you can find your underlying pigment chart in our Kenra Color portfolio and our Kenra Color manual. This little thing, because you get to take this home with you after class, this little thing is so handy. There's so many little, I'm going to call them cheats in here, and so many helpful diagrams. I believe it's page 3 here, page 3 and 4. There's a basic color wheel, which it doesn't matter how long you've been doing here. You can always use this. And this also kind of helps to tell you what underlying pigments you're going to be playing with. There's a level chart, and then, let's see here. Where's my shade? Aha. Page 14 is a great underlying pigment chart, and it's got a great coverage chart as far as helping to mix with that. So this same page you'll find in our Kenra Color portfolio book, or you'll find it here. So it's just a really great tool to have at your disposal. And as far as that goes, I think we are pretty much ready to talk about blonding. Okay, as far as blonding with Kenra Color, there are 2 options: Kenra Color Lighteners and Kenra Color High Lifts. Kenra Color Lighteners, let me just get to where I'm thinking about. Okay. Kenra Color Lighteners come in 2 options: Kenra Color Lightener and Kenra Color No Ammonia Lightener. Our Kenra Color Lightener is our blue-based lightener that is to help neutralize as it lifts, and our Kenra Color No Ammonia Lightener is a white, dust-free, no ammonia lightener, meaning it's free of ammonia to be a little more gentle as it lifts. I find that I love the no ammonia lightener for my painting because depending on how it's mixed, which we will talk about, it tends to be a little softer and a little more gentle. Our lighteners can be mixed 1-to-1, 1-to-2, or 1-to-3, depending on the technique you're using. I tend to go the 1-to-2 route. I don't think I've ever gone to the 1-to-3 route. It's kind of a personal preference, and I don't think I've ever gone the 1-to-1 route. I maybe have gone 1 to 1.5 because of painting, but the mixing ratio is really a personal preference. I wouldn't ever go over 1-to-3, and I would never go under 1-to-1. And Kenra Color lighteners can be used with 10 and 20 volume on and off the scalp. 30 volume can be used off the scalp, and 40 volume can be used off the scalp as well. These are processed for up to 60 minutes with no heat. And we say up to 60 minutes because anything over 60 minutes, you're really getting into that kind of dangerous area of maybe cooking their hair a little bit. You really don't want to process for over 60 minutes. That's where choosing the right developer really comes into play. Moving on to our High Lift series, which is our Kenra Color High Lifts. These are basically, I call them our bleach and tone clients. These are for, I really love them on virgin hair. So like my retouches that are my super blonde retouches that come in. I love these for that. These have a built-in toner in them, and let's see, they provide maximum lift and neutralization in one process. So, sorry, I totally just read that, but I wanted to get that completely correct for you. That means that on levels 6 and above, these are expected to give you 4 to 5 levels of complete lift with neutralization, meaning, going back to our underlying pigment chart, meaning that you'll cancel out those oranges, those yellows, that big bird yellow, and that banana peel yellow, if that's not what they're looking for. You'll get those sandy or beige or even silvery blonde tones that clients are looking for. These are meant to be mixed 1-to-2 with 30 or 40 volume, and they're processed for a full 45 minutes. And the 45 minutes is really, really important here because anything under 45 minutes, you're not going to get the maximum level of neutralization. With our 30 volume developer, you're going to get the most control, meaning that you'll get the lift that you're looking for, but you're also going to get the maximum amount of deposit of that neutralizing tone that you're looking for. And with our 40 volume, you're going to get the maximum amount of lift possible, and you'll get the tone, but you maybe won't get deposited all the way. I tend to love the 30 volume, 1, because it's gentler, 2, because clients don't complain that it itches as much, and 3, because you really do get that extra control as far as like our Pearl Ash goes, or what's the other one? I believe there's just a full-on ash high lift. That one. As a matter of fact, let me look, because yes, the ash. It definitely gives you more control with the 30 volume. I prefer to use these high lifts. Excuse me, I'm just recapping what I'm going to be telling you here. I prefer to use the high lift series, like I said, on like my retouches, my blondes that I've highlighted and highlighted and highlighted and highlighted, and all of a sudden I don't want to highlight anymore because it would maybe wreck their ends a little bit. I like to use this as a root break on them and help to get them through every other time or every second time, to get them through without having to have a highlight that's pulled all the way through their ends. That could be a little bit damaging. So I think our high lift series is pretty amazing because, again, it's got the neutralizing effect, and our underlying pigments, are calibrated for the most amount of neutralization possible. And finally, in our blonding with Kenra Color, is our blonding cream, which I think is the most underused but most critical tool in our whole Kenra Color toolbox. And I say that because blonding cream can be used for 2 instances. It can be used as a highlight, which is best on, to me, it's best on virgin hair, or it can be used for half to 1 full level of additional lift when paired with your permanent color. And we'll get to that in just a second. So as a highlighting tool, it can be mixed with 10, 20, 30, or 40 volume, and it's mixed 1 to 2, processed up to 45 minutes. Now, our blonding cream differs from our high lift color because blonding cream doesn't have any of the neutralizing pigment in it. It doesn't have any of that stuff that's going to cancel out the Big Bird yellow or the banana peel yellow or the neon orange that your client may pull. This is going to give a much more natural effect. And also with this blonding cream, you're going to notice maybe a little bit more of a warm tone. You should basically choose your developer when you're using it as a high lift based on the hair, not necessarily the amount of lift. So say this person's been highlighted in the past, but it's been a while ago and they're basically natural, virgin hair. I would choose their developer based on the texture and the quality of their hair, not necessarily how high they want to get in terms of blonde. So, just an example, they've been highlighted in the past, it's been a really long time, there may still be a touch of it through their ends. Say they're a natural level 6, I probably would only use a 20 or 30 volume. Again, for more control instead of maximum amount of lift. You can always take this client back to the bowl and tone with one of our rapid toners, or you can glaze them with one of our dim eyes even. So blonding cream is a really great option. And now let me get to the biggest part of blonding cream that is my absolute favorite. Blonding cream lifts color, which means blonding cream breaks the rules of traditional hair color, which I love because I've literally used it 1,000 times and it's one of my favorite things to mix into my permanent colors and get that little extra surprise with it, because we all know that virgin hair really isn't a widely found thing anymore. Virgin hair basically doesn't exist unless the girl is 13 and 14 and mom's just letting them play with color for the first time. So blonding cream breaks the rules of traditional hair color by lifting half to 1 full level of lift when it's combined with your permanent color formulation. My favorite example of this, and it's not really the perfect example anymore because we don't make the 8CG anymore, but my favorite was I had a client that I would see every 6 to 8 weeks and we'd do highlights and lowlights on her, and in the meantime sometimes she would play with box color. which I hated and I definitely told her not to do. But every time I would see her, I would do highlights with our Kenra color lightener and 20 volume-ish. And then I would go through with our 8CG and 30 volume developer with an ounce of 8CG, an ounce of 30 volume developer with a 1/4 ounce of blonding cream. No additional developer needed for that blonding cream. And I would go through and use that as her low light and get the most gorgeous strawberry blonde ever. And the reason that this worked is because that blonding cream can go in and break up artificial hair color. No other color does that, which is pretty awesome. So, again, just to reiterate, blonding cream can lift half to 1 full level of lift on artificial hair color when it's paired with your permanent color formulations. Again, there's no extra developer needed, and it's a really gentle product. I don't feel like it ever got dry on that client. I've also used it in some of my other instances of, say, I'm trying to think of a perfect client for this. I think I had a client that was like a level 6 usually, and I believe I highlighted her with, she was always a retouched level 6. And I know that I went in one time with an 8 NA with 30 volume with a 1/4 ounce of that blonding cream in there and got some really cool highlights to kind of break up that 6C level that she had. It was kind of warm and she wasn't really wanting to go blonde. So it broke her up really nicely. Sorry, I kind of got confused which client I was talking about there. So Kenra Color is just a really versatile color line. And again, we just talked about that's one of the main reasons you would choose Kenra Color. I love blonding with Kenra Color because it's gentle and it's really, really versatile. So I really hope that this helped answer some questions for you. If not, I look forward to hearing from you.